Hello, this is Lauren Delsack speaking, and if you're new to my channel, I am a professional astrologer. And in this video, I want to take a look at the Summer Solstice Chart, June 21st, 2021, together with the Draconic Chart, because it's very, very interesting. Now, before I get started here, I do want to mention that if you're not familiar with the Draconic Chart, I'll put links in the description below. Number one, for a playlist of all the videos that I've created on the Draconic Chart, so you can familiarize yourself with that. Also, we're going to be talking about here the Saturn-Uranus square going on in 2021. I've also done a video on that recently, and that might be helpful to you to understand that and how you can break free from any kind of restrictions or controls that you feel you're under. And as well, I've recently done a video on the Summer Solstice Chart itself. Okay, so that might be helpful to you. Now, before we get into the synastry, let's just take a look at a few things in the Summer Solstice Chart. I don't want to repeat myself from the previous videos, but there are a few things we need to be aware of before we look at the synastry. Number one, we have the transiting moon in the sign of Scorpio, which is not a strong placement for the moon. This is a very, let's say, energies that need to be in control and to control others. Also, there can be deep issues of privacy, secrecy, we could say, this kind of thing. And notice how the transiting moon in that Summer Solstice Chart is opposed Uranus and square Saturn, so it is hitting off that triggering, we could say, the Saturn-Uranus square going on this year. Note as well that the transiting moon is in the 5th house, and that has everything to do with entertainment, sporting events, vacations, all the ways that we like to have fun and things that appeal to children. Uranus is up in the 11th, and of course this can reference friends, group associations, and that whole social distancing issue. Also, we'll be looking at that water grand trine with Jupiter, the Sun, and the Moon in water signs. So this is a defensive structure of not wanting to be hurt again, not wanting to have our feelings hurt again. Okay, and Jupiter up in the 9th house, quite interesting. Also, we'll take a look at Mercury and the North Node as well, and Mercury is retrograde in this chart. In the 12th house, when we're talking about mundane astrology, the 12th house can refer to global illnesses such as plagues, pandemics, this kind of thing. And we also see Venus in an opposition with Pluto, which can reference an extremism of emotional expression, sometimes wasting emotions, and we'll look at that as well. So moving on to the synastry, what I've done is I've brought up the Summer Solstice Chart, which is in the inner wheel. And on the outer wheel, we have the Draconic planets, okay, a Draconic chart created from the Summer Solstice Chart. Now, the first thing that really drew my attention was that Venus-Pluto opposition is lining up precisely, and we can really look at Pluto here, Draconic Pluto, in opposition to Uranus in the natal and square to Saturn. Now, when we put Pluto together with Uranus, we can get tension, upsets. Pluto is very much into control, power, authority. The combination of planets can reference some kind of reorganization or reorientation. And again, Pluto's coming in, Draconic Pluto, in that 5th house, opposing Uranus in the 11th. So I really feel that there is a possibility that recreational activities are going to be, we could say, controlled, restricted. There could be some kind of mandates coming in about those issues. And Pluto, Draconic Pluto, is also square to Saturn. And Saturn is in the 8th house. And what I find interesting is in mundane astrology, the 8th house can have to do with mortality rates because it's death circumstances of others. And so there can be, for example, with Pluto and Saturn, there can be difficulty, challenges, hard work. And I feel, again, that what this could be saying is that we're going to hear a lot about these mortality rates, whether they go up, down, whatever the situation might be. So I just feel that it's the potential of manipulative energies going on here. And this would be, the Summer Solstice Chart is talking about June 21st through September 21st for those 3 months in 2021. Now, interestingly enough, we see in the Draconic Chart, we see the Uranus-Saturn square coming in here with Draconic Uranus conjunct Jupiter in the 9th house, and Saturn squaring Jupiter. And so what I feel, and this is kind of a no-brainer, the 9th house, of course, has to do with international travel and foreign countries and this kind of thing. And so there can be, and of course there's other subjects that the 9th house includes, such as politics, law, etc. And so I feel that we could have unexpected, sudden, out-of-the-blue changes going on here. For example, they might mandate, in terms of international travel, that there has to be, for example, if you don't have a vaccine, you cannot travel. I'm just throwing out some potential hypotheticals here with this configuration hitting off Jupiter in the 9th. The whole thing about the Saturn-Uranus square is that we're talking about a tug of war between the old and the new, between limits and restrictions versus freedom and independence. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of play going on here with international travel, recreational activities, and social distancing. And that's what I believe is being reflected through this synastry. Something else that might be a possibility here is that Draconic Saturn is coming in through the 6th house of the Summer Solstice Chart, square to Jupiter in the 9th. And in mundane astrology, the 6th house has to do with the armed forces or the military. Now, of course, I'm not making any predictions here of any kind of international, let's say, conflicts in terms of war or anything like that. But what I'm thinking in my mind is that there could be like seeing the military, armed forces, police enforcement, all this kind of thing, really putting restrictions on travel, let's say, or travel-related issues as a possibility. It's hard to know how that's going to play out. And finally, note how in the Draconic Chart, now the Mercury North Node conjunction that's in the natal 12th has now moved to the midheaven, coming in through the 10th house. Now, in mundane astrology, the 10th house is the power in control, meaning presidencies, the heads of states, this kind of thing that put down the authority, governments, government heads, we could say. And so I find here that the North Node representing the public, groups of people, and Mercury being retrograde, I feel like there's going to be a lot of potential miscommunication, misunderstandings, misinformation that can be coming from heads of states, global governments, regarding summer restrictions, we could say. Also, referencing communications here, notice how the Draconic moon is coming in at the 29th degree of Leo, almost in the third house. It's pushing for the third house. And so this is going to be very, let's say, dramatized, theatrical expression. So communications can be very much over the top, let's say dramatized, the situation, making it bigger than it is type thing. And with the Draconic sun coming in Aries through the 10th house, again, I just feel that this is going to be leadership, could be kind of like impulsive, action first, talk later type energies. I just feel, excuse me, like it's echoing the heads of states, presidencies of countries trying to lead and sort of impose upon the people a bit. Also, what I think is interesting is that in the Draconic chart, excuse me, the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter are now in a fire grand trine. They form a grand trine in fire signs. And so this is very much motivational self-sufficiency, like I'll do what I want my way. You know, it very much speaks of self-approval, self-motivated, I'll do it my way. Also, the energy of you can't tell me anything I don't know. So I feel like that could be what's coming from, let's say, global countries, governments. Maybe they're all going to, in one way, it could be that they're going to make their own decisions and impose their own restrictions in sort of this kind of like needing to be their own boss. You know, that's very much what a fire grand trine is all about. It's I'm a law to myself, I mandate what I want, and I do it my way. So, you know, we'll see how these energies play out over the summer months. And of course, we'll all have to find ways to deal with any kind of lockdowns or mandates imposed upon us. Now, I think it's really important that you are aware of this Saturn-Uranus square going on in 2021. Please listen to the video that I created because it could be helpful to you. I go through each of the signs, the areas of life where you're feeling these tug-of-war energies and what you can possibly do to find your sense of freedom and independence in those areas of your life. Okay? So, anyways, just wanted to share. I love the Draconic chart. I think it's unbelievably, uncannily, if that's a word, uncannily accurate. Very mysterious, but it always speaks. And so I think it's speaking strongly here. Anyways, that's about it for now, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please share for those who would be interested in it, and subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video. Have a great summer. Bye-bye now.